Welcome to the second episode of NK's Speech Salad 2023. NK is newskannataka.com. It's a brand familiar with Karnataka's for the last 10 years, and it's picking up speed only recently. Now, all of us are familiar with salads, and they think it's a fashion fad these days to have mainly salads and nothing else, given that every one of us is putting on weight. But speech salad is something slightly different. Of course, it's a mixture. It's a mixture because India is a very diverse and culturally, ethnically, linguistically, in every way it is diverse. So when somebody speaks from North India, somebody speaks from South India, somebody speaks from West India, and somebody speaks from Eastern India, it becomes a salad. And that kind of a salad is something that we all enjoy, not only for health reasons, but also because it gives us a different thought process. Now, this Speech Salad 2023, as I mentioned in the previous episode, is an outcome of my experience in Toastmasters. I do not know how many of you are part of the Toastmasters or know about Toastmasters. I know Larissa is a part of the Toastmasters, as are our judges. But it is a public speaking platform that can help you grow as a leader as well as in communication skills. So my experience has been since 2012, and I always and during the COVID pandemic, we all went online, and every one of us used to make speeches online. So that gave me an idea that if we can make speeches online, why not the rest of the country? And therefore, we devised this NK Speech Salad around the theme of Republic Day, because Republic Day can draw in the crowds, draw in the people who would like to express their thoughts from across the country. Now, having it from one region or just one place gives you a horse's view of things. But when you listen to people from diverse backgrounds across the country, you get different perspectives. Of course, you have to have an open mind. And perhaps that is how you communicate. If you communicate well, you can open others' minds. That's the idea. So that's the whole background of this NK Speech Salad. Of course, there are prizes, but basically what we want is for you to get feedback from our very distinguished judges here, Dr. Malini Hebbar and Ms. Samina Naik. They are also veteran Toastmasters. Both of them are distinguished Toastmasters. Now, for those of you who don't know, distinguished Toastmasters are those, it's the highest designation, like a PhD, given by the Toastmasters International. So both of them are very experienced. And apart from that, I would also like to mention that Dr. Malini Hebbar is a veteran teacher, a distinguished Toastmaster, public speaker, an author, a much-in-demand certified trainer, a much-in-demand MC, and of course, a judge for all sorts of competitions, from dramatics to dance to speech making. And in Toastmasters, she's always in demand. Not only in Toastmasters, I think in Inner Wheel, in the Rotary, in all the social organizations that I know of, she is in demand, because her creative output is tremendous, both in the dramatics, in the dance, and in speech making, in academics too, because she was the former HOD of English at St. Agnes, undergraduate and postgraduate, and currently the principal of the Swastika College and a guest faculty at St. Agnes Center for PG Studies and Research. So she has got tremendous experience, and whatever feedback she gives you, I think it will only make you a better person, a better speaker, and a better leader. Now, the other judge is also from the Toastmasters fraternity. She's also a veteran Toastmaster. She and her husband actually initiated me into the Toastmasters movement, and she's also a DTM. And she's also a French lecturer. Now, none of you are going to speak in French, I'm sure, because the languages themselves are restricted to the Indian languages. But if you were to speak in French, she would have given your evaluation in French. She's a teenage and marriage counselor, which none of you need perhaps at this stage. I don't know. But she's also an alternate healer, an NLP practitioner, and a Toastmaster for 26 years. So you are in very good company. I'm also in very good company, both with you as well as the judges. And I'm looking forward to a fantastic show today. We had a great show yesterday. We had people from North India, across the country actually, and Yes, it was a great show yesterday, so I'm hoping for a great show today also. This time, I'd like to take a slight deviation and request our judges to make some opening remarks based on their experience yesterday. Can I go with Dr. Malini Hebbar first? If you can make some opening remarks, just a few remarks before we proceed with the program.
My opening remarks would be, even before the prize distribution, remarks of congratulations, because the very fact that you all have participated in this video speech contest shows that your interests are in the right direction. Because you see, when we ask for volunteers for dance in my classes, many hands go up. Singing, many hands go up. But when we say there is a speech competition, would any one of you like to participate? Hardly anyone offers to participate. And that is tantamount to saying that that is the toughest contest. And many of us, even after years and years of experience, still feel nervous if the tag of a competition is attached to public speaking. So you have shown, I must say, tremendous courage in accepting this challenge. Even this evening, Brian, I met a student who told me that she had registered for this and then felt terribly nervous to send her video. So these are brave hearts, I must say, who have decided to participate and also presented their videos. So let me congratulate all of you, whether you win or lose, as the Olympic motto goes. It doesn't matter at all. It is participation that matters. And this is surely a training for all of you to be better speakers in the future. And I would also like to congratulate you, Brian, as I said yesterday, because till now I haven't come across any contest of this kind in Mangalore, where it was open to all. You don't have any criteria of this and this and this. And it is open to all. So I think that spirit of competition should be like this, cutting through differences in age, gender, etc., etc. So that has to be the spirit of competition. So let me congratulate you and News Karnataka on this particular aspect as well. And let me wish all the contestants of today all the best.
Thank you very much, Dr. Malini. And those are very encouraging words for the speakers and for me too, personally. And I'll be back, if possible, with a better, all-round participation in with NK Speech Salad 24. But if I had to eat salads for the entire 23, I'm going to lose 10 kg. Now, Ms. Samina Naik, for your opening remarks, please.
As a senior person, I don't say I'm old. I'm growing up each day. Every day, I learn a new lesson. Yesterday, listening to the 5 speakers, I think each one of us, however experienced we were in Toastmasters, listened to ideas which were so good that I wish our dear politicians would have heard them. Because Republic Day means we have become a nation, independent nation, not ruled by any other nation as we have been for years. And to get your ideas put across so vibrantly, because when we learned how to speak, we stood in one place and we held our hands like this and we swayed and we spoke. We didn't know anything about body language or voice modulation or eye contact. But I think you all have got the knack of it. And I would be very interested today to hear what you make of your speeches, to hear about your ideas of how to make India a vibrant country, and also to hear your opinions, which are so valuable. How can we go forward in our lives? That is what I would like to hear today, and I'm sure you're going to give us a good time today. So thank you very much for volunteering, and I thank Brian for putting forward such a wonderful speech competition, which I think in the beginning you might have thought is rather difficult, but I'm sure when you wrote out something, you realized you have a voice, and that voice is going to be heard today. You see, there is a woman's day, there's a man's day, but there is no teenage day. But today you have a voice. So let us hear from you.
Thank you, Ms. Amina. There's one thing I would like to say is that we kept the age limit as 15 and above. There's a specific reason for that, because nowadays, even those who are 15 and 16 have very mature thoughts of what the future should be and what it should look like. They are experiencing life in a very difficult time, and their thoughts can help us also at the senior levels, change the ways we do things. So that is why we kept it at 15, because after high school, I'm sure everybody has a thought on what should be and how things should work. So let's dive straight into our program. The first speaker, of course, is Larissa.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, distinguished Toastmasters and Brian sir and all my fellow contestants. This is Larissa D'Souza from Mahe Toastmasters Club. I am an undergraduate student studying media and communication currently. And my passion for Toastmasters has gone from more than 2 years for now. And I've also been the president for the last term. And it's been a very fruitful and insightful experience. And public speaking is obviously been my first area of interest since childhood. And I have kept nurturing this talent, and I am doing it even now. And I wish to greatly continue this in future. And I believe Toastmasters is a wonderful place, a great platform where people like us, the youth, can voice our interests, our opinions and ideas, just as this contest has been organized for all of us. And that is about me. And a little further ahead, I would like to give all of you one favorite quote that I have, that being happy is the ultimate goal in life. And in whatever we do, we need to find happiness. So that was a little thing I had to share. And that is it from me. Back to you, Brian, sir.
Larissa, just a couple of questions. When did you make your first speech?
Yes, sir. My first speech, in the sense outside Toastmasters.
Yeah, you've always been you've always been speaking, you said. That was your interest. Yes. So when did you make your first speech?
So my first speech, I would say, was back in 4th grade. There are usually elocution competitions which are held in our school. So I began participating in them from the 4th grade. So I've been participating from then onwards. And that's how I developed the interest.
And the first speech, did you win, or you had butterflies? You were nervous, or what?
Definitely, sir. In the first instance, while I was preparing, all was new to me, and I did not know how to go about with it. But my mother, she helped me throughout the preparation, and I gained confidence, I gained courage on the go, and ultimately I won the first place. So that was quite overwhelming.
And one last question before we go into your speech. This Republic Day speech that you have, what does Republic Day mean to me? The speech that you have delivered today, did you write it down fully, or you just put some thoughts together? How did you do it actually?
Yes, sir. I wrote down all of it, and I tried to think of what the Republic Day would specifically mean to me in the present day context, as in everybody else's life. So I thought I could relate all of it and put it down together.
Great. I won't ask you any more questions. We'll listen to what you have to say, and then then I think the judges will ask you questions. Play Larissa's speech.
We are a free citizen, but we restrict ourselves in 100 different ways. We are entitled to the freedom of speech and expression, but we turn away from speaking in the right instances. We do pay heed to the world around us, but are captivated when it comes to expressing our true selves. So much so that an individual is truly living in a republic, but not quite as much as it can be seen. Each year marks India's Republic Day as one of the most iconic days from a historical and present-day context. And it is also primarily important for us to understand what a Republic Day means in our personal lives. Republic for me is freedom. Freedom, in my understanding, is getting rid of those restraints, those obstructions that hinder us to be our true selves. There are a lot of obstructions, no doubt. Freedom, in my understanding, is doing things our way, given ethically, morally, and legally correct, but more focused on being unbothered of what others think of us. We often tend to grow deeply conscious on how others perceive our behavior to be, and we are rest settled to do nothing but think of what others think of us. Am I right or am I right? Well, I have lost quite a lot of opportunities out of this fear. One fine day, while I was scrolling across the WhatsApp chats, an image caught my attention. The text in it read, "Rest in peace." The initial text was on a sad note, but then I read the complete sentence. Rest in peace to the opportunities that we let go because of our shyness and low self-esteem. That was even more sad. I instantaneously began to recall all of those chances, those opportunities that I let go of only out of the fear of what others would think of me. It pains me immensely even to this moment. Well, it can be as small as knowing the correct answer in class and not answering even then, or maybe sometimes behaving in a certain given expected manner established by the society, or even be taking the right stand at the right times. How I let go of all of those chances just so casually. Well, whom can we possibly blame? The society? Any other factors? Or ultimately us? In order to answer all of these aspects, it is important to understand that we are the artists of our life. We choose to paint our lives as beautifully as we like. And that is how the right term, the essence of the term republic, is truly justified. And a Republic Day, to me, would be one where people live as they like and not being the slaves to anyone's opinion or opinionated structures, live as we like. Because we have the right to live, laugh, and love. And that brings me to the prime motive of my speech. Republic Day for us. And now this is up to you to answer the question. Yes, but are you truly free? Thank you.
Thank you, Larissa. You have asked a question and it's for us to answer. Are we truly free? But freedom is always freedom is always circumscribed because I cannot hurt somebody else's nose when I put my nose in front. That's my personal opinion, because if it's unfettered freedom, then something or someone will get hurt. But at the same time, freedom is what makes us creative. So both aspects of life are born in the Republic. And you must, I think we all must know that Republic Day is very significant because there's the word public in Republic. With that, let me just take you to Dr. Malini for her feedback.
Toastmaster Larissa, I take the liberty of saying Toastmaster Larissa, although this is not a Toastmasters platform, because I can see that on your screen. And I also saw some typical Toastmaster International Speech Contest material in your speech. That is when you use the phrase, let go, how much of it can we actually let go? I was reminded of the message that you're supposed to have in a speech when it is a prepared speech. For me, the best part of your speech was the anecdotal reference. The minute you start connecting the subject to your life or what happened in your life, the interest level of the audience gets raised. So I congratulate you on that. And I must also congratulate you on your enunciation. I'm not talking about pronunciation, because as Indians, I think we have the liberty to pronounce certain words as we want. But enunciation is very important so that your listener understands what you are trying to put forth. So you had absolutely clear. So your enunciation was perfect. And I immensely appreciate the pain taken, because, all these things get connected to the preparation that you put in. Now, I would beg to differ from what Samina ma'am said at the beginning. She said all of us had the habit of holding our hands like this and speaking, and we grew out of this, she said. But I remember in my life, it was the opposite. I remember Dr. C.R. Kamath actually as one of our judges. And at the end of the contest, he said, why do you all think of yourselves as Lord Rama or Lord Krishna? Why are you all so dramatic? Be your natural selves, he said. So that day I got a message that being very dramatic is also not acceptable in public speaking. In your case, you had very controlled body movements, not over dramatic at all. And I like the way a couple of times you had your hands here, but most of the times you let go of your hands and you used them freely. So that also is a point of commendation from my side to you. If at all, I have to give you a suggestion for improvement, nothing very major. You had a beautiful framework, I must say, broad and very clear. We could see your whole self, in fact. So probably what we call the stage management could have been slightly better because you had the scope to do that. So when you contemplated, you could have turned your whole body in one angle to show that you were in contemplation. So that kind of body language could have been incorporated into your speech. Now, content, I don't really comment on because, every one of us can have our references, and in a speech of this kind, it's not difficult to get good content, but the original touch that you give to the content is important. And that's what I liked in your speech, the way you gave your own original touch to the idea of republic. So congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Malini, and Ms. Samina, your feedback, please.
I am a fan of what is necessary for giving a good speech according to Toastmaster parameters. So since you're a Toastmaster, I would like to judge you by that. So we have to see, I have to tell you what I saw, what I felt, and what I heard. So what I heard was you putting yourself in the speech. It was not prepared by just taking matter from Google, which you can very easily do, and then just put in 1 or 2 sentences. No, you had yourself throughout in the speech. And that is a good thing. You asked questions. So that is keeping the attention of the audience. Even if they're slightly distracted, when they're asked a question, everybody sits up and says, oh, what is she asking me? And you did that. At times, however, I recommend that you remember to keep full contact with the audience. Sometimes your eyes move to the side. I think that we call them thinking pauses, but it does take away from eye contact with the audience. I didn't much care for your ending sentence, are you truly free? Because I would have liked you to give an answer yourself to that. And then the audience will sort of think, no, I would have said this, no, I would have said that. So you have to give something to the audience, not just throw a question at them. That is easy, right? But you have to give a message, because every meeting, every speech, let it be Toastmasters or anywhere, must have a message which you so care about, and your whole body language, your eyes, your voice, everything should reflect in every word you speak. You did have that most of the time. Still, I would recommend that you rehearse it a little more another time for any speech you give, and rehearse it in front of maybe a friend or two, because they are the most honest people. They will give you very honest opinions. A friend who's not participating in that competition, of course, because she will get ideas from you, but it would help. We very rarely do that. We speak in front of the mirror. But as somebody told me, you're not speaking to the mirror in the competition, you're speaking to an audience. So you should practice speaking to an audience, however small it is. That would be my recommendation. In most, this thing you were at an 80%, and that is very, very good for a speech. So I commend you on that, and I really enjoyed listening to your speech.
Thank you, Ms. Amina Naik and Larissa and the rest of the participants here. Now, you are a Toastmaster and the judges are also Toastmasters, so it was probably a little brutal for you.
No.
No, what I was trying to say is that you're judged at Toastmaster standards, but I would also like to assure the rest of the participants here that the judges are from Toastmasters and they will give you the right kind of feedback always. It's for you to take it and improve yourself. So tell us something about yourself, Lisa.
Good evening, judges and everyone present here. My name is Naifed Aaron Pinto. I am an undergraduate pursuing my BCom degree from St. Aloysius. I would like to describe myself as an enthusiastic person. I love to work hard in the field that I am weak. I love to speak, so I saw this wonderful opportunity present before me and took part. I am thankful for this opportunity. I would like to improve myself in this area. I know I have made some mistakes. I would like to especially work on those areas. I would like to take the feedback.
Okay.
Thank you. That's about me.
Yeah, that's correct. But how long have you been participating in speech contests or elocution competitions or in moot court?
Yeah, I used to like speak in church competitions. I used to give many Konkani speeches.
When did you actually make your first speech? Let's say in church competitions, whichever it is. What was it about? Let me just ask you one question. What was
First
it?
speech was about my home.
Okay. And how old were you?
10.
10
I
years.
wasn't. Yeah.
You were 10 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. And what did you say actually? Just 2 lines. Can you remember?
Yeah, it was actually a Konkani speech competition.
Yeah.
So I described my home, my parents, everything, my pets.
Okay. And did you write it yourself or mommy helped you, daddy helped you?
No, Mama wrote me and gave.
Okay. So when did you write your own speech first?
So it was in 6th.
In the 6th standard.
Yeah, I started writing by then.
Okay, great. And today's Republic Day speech, you wrote it entirely by yourself.
Yeah, I tried it in Hindi.
Yeah, I saw. How did you speak in Hindi fluently? I mean, where did you learn Hindi so fluent?
Yeah, I just watch Hindi news and read Hindi books. So I guess.
Okay. So you're a multi-linguist. Let's listen to what you have to say in Hindi.
वतन हमारा ऐसा कोई ना छोड़ पाए, रिश्ता हमारा ऐसा कोई ना तोड़ पाए, दिल एक है जान एक है हमारी, हिंदुस्तान हमारा है यह शान हमारी। हमारे राष्ट्रीय त्योहारों में गणतंत्र दिवस का स्थान स्वतंत्रता दिवस के बाद महत्वपूर्ण है। आज ही के दिन हमने अपने राष्ट्र के विकास के एक विशेष संविधान को तैयार करके इसे कार्य रूप में लागू करने के लिए सब प्रकार की तैयारी और योजना पूरी की थी। यह संविधान महामतिमान बाबा डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर की अपार बुद्धि और विवेक के द्वारा तैयार हुआ था। इस संविधान को लागू करके हमने अपने राष्ट्र को पूर्ण स्वायत्त गणतंत्र का स्थान दिया था। इसलिए 26 जनवरी को हम गणतंत्र दिवस कहते हैं। 26 जनवरी का दिन हमारी स्वाधीनता के लिए एक अत्यंत महत्व एवं हर्ष का दिन है। 26 जनवरी 1930 को रावी नदी के तट पर नेहरू जी की अध्यक्षता में पूर्ण स्वतंत्रता प्राप्ति का प्रस्ताव कांग्रेस अधिवेशन में पास हुआ। संघर्ष चलता रहा, शहीदों का खून रंग लाया और देश स्वतंत्र हुआ। सरदार पटेल की योग्यता और साहस ने भारत की रियासतों को मिलाकर तिरंगे झंडे के नीचे ला दिया। 26 जनवरी को रावी तट पर किए गए ऐतिहासिक निर्णय की याद में 26 जनवरी 1950 को अखंड भारत का संविधान लागू कर दिया गया। तभी से 26 जनवरी को गणतंत्र दिवस के रूप में मनाया जाता है। अतः इसी दिन विविध योजना और कार्यक्रम आयोजित किए जाते हैं। 26 जनवरी के दिन विभिन्न स्थलों में विभिन्न प्रकार की सांस्कृतिक कार्यक्रम अपनाए और आयोजित किए जाते हैं। इस देश के सभी नागरिक इस महत्वपूर्ण त्योहार का विशेष आनंद लेने के लिए अनेक प्रकार के कार्यक्रम की आयोजना करते हैं। इस देश के प्राय सभी नागरिक इस महत्वपूर्ण त्योहार में आनंद लेते हैं। स्कूलों के बच्चे अपने कौशल्य दिखाते हुए जुलूस में भाग लेते हैं। देश की राजधानी दिल्ली में प्रदर्शित झांकियां में विभिन्न हथियारों, टैंकों का प्रदर्शन भी होता है। राज्यों की प्रगति झांकियों के द्वारा प्रदर्शित किए जाते हैं, जिससे भारत की उन्नति तथा समृद्धि का अनुभव होता है। विभिन्नता में एकता है कि उक्ति से भारत की एकता का ज्ञान होता है। इस प्रकार से हमें गणतंत्र दिवस के विशेष महत्व पर पूरा ध्यान देते हुए इस परम सौभाग्यपूर्ण दिवस को एक संकल्प में लेकर देशोत्थान में लग जाना चाहिए।
Thank you, Nisa. That was really interesting. A lot of facts about our Republic Day, and especially about the parade that we have now. It's going to be on the latest, the Kartavya path, the Kartavya path. It's no longer the Kingsway or the Rajpath. It is going to be on the Kartavya path. So we're looking forward to that on the 26th of January. But on your speech itself, I would request Ms. Amina Naik to evaluate first.
Do two things. I will commend and I will recommend. So I commend. When I listen to your speech, I realize that you have researched it very well. You had all the relevant information of the what, when, how, where, why Republic Day is celebrated. But I recommend that you put yourself in the speech by either saying that I have watched Republic Day parade perhaps on TV, or maybe you had the good fortune of watching it in Delhi. It takes place every year. And then what you felt at that moment about becoming a republic, India becoming a republic. That is very important. In any speech, you have to have your own opinion and it has to be very clearly presented. I also recommend that you try to rehearse your speech, know it so well that you're able to deliver it verbatim. I noticed that you were actually reading it from your written script. So that means you cannot keep eye contact with your audience. You cannot connect to the audience. It is very important when you give a speech to keep the audience attention. So perhaps if you had asked a question or two or exclaimed, I was so excited when I saw my very first Republic Day on TV. And then the audience also starts thinking, I also remember how excited I was. I have watched it in Delhi, so it is an experience beyond anything you can have. You become so proud that you are an Indian. That feeling should have been brought out. I am proud to be an Indian. I am proud to be a member of a country which is a republic, the biggest republic in the world. That would have added more value to your speech. But to end, I do commend the trouble you have taken to prepare this speech. You certainly have given us more facts than any other speaker so far, and they were very accurate facts. I'm a history buff, so I do know that they were very accurate. But your delivery needs a little work, and I'm sure with all the suggestions you get today, you will do better next time. Thank you for volunteering and delivering your speech.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Samina Naik. Dr. Malini, to give her feedback, please.
Lisa, I have something in common with you. Just as you said that in your sixth standard, you started writing your own speeches. I too started writing my own speeches around the same time. But when it comes to public speaking, it was my dad who used to train me, write speeches for me. My mom used to train me in my dance and stitching and all that. So I had good training from both of them. So writing your own speech is very important because only when you write your own speech, you can personalize your speech and you can deliver it as your own babe. Otherwise, it will always be somebody else's child. You will never have the sense of ownership when you don't write your own speeches. So I'm glad that you write your own speeches. You had a poetic beginning. Your voice was very pleasant to listen to. I must also appreciate the pain you took in your to be in the formal clothing, because in public speaking, even your appearance is of paramount importance. So all those things went in your favor. As Samina ma'am said, probably the only problem was not rehearsing enough to deliver the speech with a greater level of confidence and conviction. So you will have that conviction only when you have confidence. So they go hand in hand. So how do you develop that confidence? By rehearsing repeatedly. Once you develop that confidence, you will present your speech with a greater level of conviction. And what is it that sets one speech apart from the others? For me, it is the level of conviction. So you will have your facts. But how do you present those facts? What is the personal touch that you will give to those facts will be a question mark that we will keep in our mind as judges. So I appreciate the trouble taken to come up with a speech which was worthy of our time. Every time that we listen to someone, we must get something from that person. So we got something from you, and that is why I appreciate the trouble taken to prepare the speech. Maybe a little more trouble to be taken to rehearse the speech. So congratulations, and also all the very best for your next performance. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Malini, and thank you, Nisa. But one thing I would like to say is that today, I mean, in a few days, we'll be celebrating Republic Day, and the fact that there is already a debate going around about the Hindi language in the South being one of the what you call the bednars or whatever it is. The fact that Nisa took the trouble to do a speech in Hindi, which is not native to the South, is itself commendable. And she has made a great effort to write the speech herself and deliver it. Of course, she did have, as the judges said, did have to look at the script once in a way, but that is a part and parcel of the speech learning ability. So as she learns, perhaps she's already delivering speeches, I think, in Konkani Kannada and English. So learning in Hindi, delivering speeches in Hindi without actually looking at the script, definitely it's going to come in the future. So with that, thank you very much, Nisa, for being with us and giving us your time and your effort to deliver the speech in Hindi. I really appreciate that. It's in the true spirit of the Republic. Our next speaker is Inchara. Okay, tell us a little bit about yourself, because it's your turn and we're going to play your video next. But before that, we'd like to know a little bit about you. The judges would like to know a bit about you. I have received a little bit about your biodata, but I think the judges would like to hear from you.
Thank you so very much for the amazing opportunity to take part in the Speech Salad contest. To begin with, I am Inshrer, a voice and accent coach and language specialist at KGRS currently. I've been a language specialist voice and accent coach and a rhetorician for 5 years, I developed mania for learning the linguistics and the accent in the year 2019. In fact, the late 2019 during the COVID-19 pandemic, which is a blessing in disguise for me. I onboarded multiple edtech organizations like Vedantu, Byju's, Cheerito, MG Tuition, etc. in order to upskill my linguistics proficiency. Thereby, I was a freelance voice and accent coach and language specialist in these organizations. And I've also served as voice and accent coach in one of the BPOs named as Prasanna AI, which is pretty famous in Bengaluru, located in Marathali. Basically, I hail from Bengaluru, Karnataka. And to correlate myself with the crowd here, I've been a Toastmaster for 6 months now. I've attended District Conference 121 last year that was conducted in Bengaluru. And this is about me in a nutshell.
Okay, one question. I heard you use the word rhetorician. Is that
Right.
Can you just tell us exactly what that is? I've heard the word rhetoric, but rhetorician, I couldn't figure out what it was.
Right, rhetorician or the word rhetoric, rhetorician, these are actually two word types which refers to the usage of words. So I've been a rhetorician and I've been a logophile as well. So it's to play with the words and try the possibilities of different words to see and figure out whether this suits in here or not. So that's how we come up with phrases or statements.
Okay. That's improved my understanding a little bit. And welcome to the show. Let's listen to your speech. And then if judges have some questions, or if I have a question later on, we will definitely ask you.
With freedom in the mind, strength in our words, zeal in our heart, and pride in our soul, let's salute our great country with pride on Republic Day. Hi everyone! Do you feel excited the moment you feel you are evolving, advancing intellectually, deciding wisely, and resolving the problems on your own? I do, for shizzle. That is when I feel I am. To draw an analogy with our nation, India, Indians were submerged in ecstasy the moment we were bestowed with the Constitution, accounting for the Republic of India. Furthermore, one of the stories that's stuck in my mind at the moment is an evolution from external bombardment to an internalization or self-enlightenment or decision-making. Rewinding the clock to my childhood, my dad was insisting me to learn the English verbal and written communication during my summer vacation at my grandparents', which I was despised as my temporary pursuit was to derive fun during vacation. My dad used to say, "Intro, carry the stationery in with you to write a page or two of English articles from any of the dailies, which is due or the day you return." I used to return with either 1 or 2 pages of assignment after a 12-week vacation. The same task continued for years together hitherto my high school, and my dad called it a day due to negative ramification. Fast forward to the late 2019, a blessing in disguise year due to coronavirus disease pandemic outbreak. I developed mania for learning the accent and the linguistics aspect, which is ongoing currently and miles to reach yet. This is one of those moments I feel content, a Republican, and independent, witnessing my evolution. This feeling is analogous to the feeling our nation goes through every year, especially on the 26th of January. What is that moment for you? Let me know, I'll be waiting. An imbalance between rich and poor is the oldest and most fatal ailment of all republics. We are bound to the republic with such essential and sacred bonds that we couldn't break them without destroying our own moral character. A republic country is a country without a king or a queen, ordinarily governed by elected representatives of the people and the president. For instance, the People's Republic of India. So pales, it's republic. A republic. The word republic is a two-syllable abstract noun with a stress on the second syllable.
Yeah, thank you, Inchara. That was enlightening to all of us. Before I ask any question, let me just hand over to the judges for their feedback. Dr. Malini first.
Inchara, you have almost made me nervous with the introduction that you gave of yourself as an expert in the field of linguistics, as the one who has practiced it, and a rhetorician. You said usually when we take classes, we refer to rhetorics actually, and the ones who practiced the effective way of using a language. And today we had a sitting and standing example of a rhetorician in you, not only in what you said as a preamble to your speech, but also what you said in the speech itself and how you said that in your speech. So it was a pleasure to watch you in action, because after that introduction, I just wondered what is it that I was in store for. And you didn't disappoint me at all, because you had a very effective presentation as far as rhetorics as a noun in a different way is concerned. Particularly like the dialogue that you brought in. Many of the other contestants personalized the speech and referred to some experiences in their lives, but I think this is the first instance of a dialogue being brought into a speech. Always a dialogue makes it more interesting, because the minute you bring in a dialogue, there is that element of storytelling. And you see, storytelling has developed now as a potent field in the field of communication, because you can grab the attention of the speakers just with the words once upon a time. The minute you say once upon a time, everybody will sit up and listen to you, because they know that there is a story to follow. So I congratulate you on that particular aspect of storytelling. Now, you took recourse to the electronic device, and you had something that can be considered the creative edge to your speech. So I have no quarrels with that. But I felt that you could have probably had an ending where you came back as a presenter, as a speaker. Now you ended with that, and it seemed to be somewhat abrupt. So I felt that after you gave that explanation, probably you could have come back to give us a very effective conclusion. Because you see, in speeches, as I said, I think I mentioned it yesterday, I can't remember, you have what we call primacy effect, you have what we call recency effect. What you say right at the end is very important, because that is one of the most powerful parts of your speech, irrespective of the flow of your speech. So I felt that you could have come back and you could have had a stronger conclusion to your speech. But for that, as I've already stated, it was an enjoyable speech, not only enjoyable, but also edifying in many ways, not only by way of content, but also in many other ways. It was an edifying speech. So thank you for giving us a chance to sit and learn something from all of you, the youth of India.
Thank you so very much, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Malini. And Ms. Amina?
Inchara, it's obvious that you have, yes, it's obvious that you have mastered the art of speech, the pronunciation and all, according to an American accent, I would say. That's interesting. It's very interesting to me, especially when you put your visuals, since you have given how to pronounce the word republic using phonetics. And I like that because I teach French using phonetics. But it is not so clear to an average audience. it would have been clearer if you had also ended with how you began. You began extremely well. So you think of your speech as a present. Okay, what do you do with the present? Finally, you tie a knot, with a red ribbon or pink ribbon or something, and you tie it all together. So your beginning was very good. Your body more or less supported what you wanted to tell us. But the ending, at least to me, was a little abrupt. Because people remember the ending words most. So you have to leave them with something to think about. And that was missing a bit. If you had done that, it would have absolutely become a perfect speech. I'm not talking about Toastmasters, I'm talking about any speech. You have to give the audience your opinion. You've got a right to do it. And then ask them what they think about it. They have got a right to their opinion. But how do you ask them that? You give them a thought to ponder on. And that should be your last sentence. Give them a thought to think about that whole day, the next day, and remember you for the rest of their lives, to make it memorable. Speech was extremely good, different, innovative, interesting. I liked all your facets. Yet I would recommend that you go a little bit slower. I found that your ending of this sentence and the beginning was just one after the other. So the audience requires time to absorb what you're saying. If you don't do that, then their thoughts wander. So next time you have recorded the speech, listen to it. You will find that it's just flowing and flowing and flowing. But even in a river, there are rocks, and the water takes its time to go over the rocks. It gives you time to think. Gives the audience time to think. That is the only recommendation I have. And then tie up your beautiful body of speech with that ribbon. Make it very interesting sentence, memorable, so that the audience remembers it for the rest of their lives. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, mate.
Yeah. You have anything else to say, Nisa? Inchara? Do you want to say anything before we move on to the next speaker?
Well, yeah, to answer this particular question of the judges, I thought invariably what I anticipate is when someone thinks that this is the end, that should be the beginning again of something else. So I thought of giving that touch to this, and they carry that out along with the pronunciation and the rhetorical aspect as well. And yeah, I could have gotten back toward the end as well to conclude. But then the agenda behind adding the clip of the pronunciation or syllabication was just to mark the ending to the starting or beginning of something. That is it.
Great. A constitutional India or an Indian constitution, which is more important? We're not going to debate it here. I just keep the question open, just like some of our speakers did. Okay. We'll move on to our. Thank you very much, Inchara, for joining us and taking your time out and being with us tonight. But we'll move on to the next speaker. And Rachel, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, sir. So a pleasant welcome to all present here, respected judges and all my dear friends. I am Rachel Fernandez, hailing from Mangalore. I am currently studying final year BA in Sri Mahavira College, Mudabidri. I am an essay writer. I have won praiseworthy position in the international essay writing competition by Monu Mausami monthly essay contest. Also, I have won prizes in the national essay contest by Symbiosis Law College and Vignan Setu Foundation at the national level. Further, also have written a lot of essays of Samartha Bharata and Disha Bharata foundations and won prizes. Even more, 15 national essays have been published by me in various college platforms in the national level. I am actively working in the field of extempore and the essay writing fields. Also, trying to motivate a lot of youths.
Swami Vivekananda rightly states, dare to be free, dare to live on your thoughts, and dare to make those thoughts your life. Indeed, by these words, I, Rachel Fernandez, hailing from Mangalore, would like to speak about what Republic means to me, in which I would like to provide my ideas and opinions on Republic, my idea as a youth. India is the country of ancient traditions and systems being modified into the modern scenario, providing out glory not only inside the country but also in the global scenario. We have faced a lot of struggles in which we have got achievements as well as failures. From failures, we have learned a lot. The Indian national movement stands as a face for gaining out ideas and ideologies from various thinkers, writers, philosophers, and that we have implied into our administrative setup. T.N. Krishnamachari rightly says that a vehicle cannot move without wheels. Similarly, a country like vehicle cannot move without wheels like people, which means republic constitutes the people to be participatory, and that's what is laid down in our preamble and provided by our forefathers, working constantly from nearly 2 years, 11 months and 18 days, so that the decision making process works in a righteous manner. It is that the all people are need to be working for the sake of the progress of the country, and that is what Kautilya's Arthashastra really mentioned. We require a welfare state, a state where the law and order is upright. Not only that, people have the right to provide their best into the society. Not only that, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel strikes a statement: every Indian citizen is given with the right, but not only the right, but also the duties to perform. And that is what means republic. In a general sense, the Oxford Dictionary or many other dictionaries, writings, reports, they say that republic means a government elected by the people. But republic to all the youths means a lot. Youths are the future asset of the nation. They need to make the vision into reality. We need to develop ourselves wherein the country would be developed. Also, we can provide development in the global aspect. Here, Atal Bihari Vajpayee had provided a statement: governance happens when all the law and orders are maintained in an upright manner and people give a lot of contribution to it. And that is what our aims and aspirations to go in an upright manner requires the schools as well as our home to teach the awareness and the knowledge that is the republic which provides us the betterment. By this I conclude with the Tagore statement: we cannot change the direction of the wind, but we can adjust according to it. Similarly, youths need to use republic in a manner to be a strength of the nation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. Okay, just before I go to the judges, I actually wanted to ask you one question was this essay writing and extempore speaking. In this particular case, the speech that we just heard, you did it extempore, or you prepared for it, or you wrote the essay first and then you delivered it, or did you practice, or what?
For which one, sir? I'm not sure about your question.
The current one, the speech.
I just wrote it, I practiced it, and I went for the studio to record it.
Okay, and you wrote it in one sitting, or you had several sittings?
Yeah, I had taken a lot of time to think about all the aspects, what can come under this. So it was not in one go, but different days and different time where I remembered how to connect that topic was my aim, and I did so, sir.
Okay, so when you normally write an essay, do you take, do you have different sittings when you complete it, or do you write it in one go? I mean,
It takes time, sir, because any topic which I take, we have to think in all dimensions. Maybe the past, the present, and for the future. So on the three goals, I just have to think how to make it relevant in every spheres. And that is how I write, and that's how I present, sir.
okay. And what you have several talents, obviously. So your future, what are you looking at?
Sir, I am unable
I'm
to
asking,
hear your voice, sir.
there's a reason why I'm asking you, because the youth is the future of the republic. And
Yes, sir, yes.
therefore, that is why I'm asking you.
In the future, actually, I want to do MSW, that is the Master in Social Work. I want to contribute a lot to the society. Still, we are doing a lot of things by engaging in different schools and trying to give a lot of sessions so that youths come forward, because somewhere we feel that youths are having a lot of feeling that they cannot contribute. There are a lot of issues, but they have to come out from that. That is where we are engaging a lot of sessions for them. And as well as I want to do law, because social work connecting to legal, it is a framework where we can work more better. That is my answer.
Okay, thank you very much, Rachel, for joining us. And
Thank you.
let us hear the feedback from the judges. Ms. Samina Naik first.
Yes, Rachel,
Yes, ma'am.
congratulations
Good
on
evening, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
delivering a speech. You
Thank you.
began with a smile, and that's
Yes.
always good because that gets the audience into your ambience and makes them want to listen to you. You
Thank you, ma'am.
dressed formally, which I think the audience will appreciate, that you took the trouble and it makes us feel good, at least in your recording, right? Your hand movements, your expressions, they changed and they matched what you were wanting to convey to us. They were quite relevant. They matched. That is the thing, right? That sometimes people speak and the hand is going somewhere else, but your hand movements matched. You almost look like a Bharatanatyam dancer. If I had closed my eyes, I would have thought, you're doing Bharatanatyam. And I love that you ended your speech with a bang, with a quote from Tagore, which ratified everything you wanted to convey to us. And also that you projected yourself as part of the youth who better get off their behinds and then start to work for the nation. That is what I felt you were trying to say. Not just lounge about and play games and things like that, but nation has been given to us. Let us respect it and let us keep doing something which makes us even greater. I thought that was your message to the audience, and I hope I'm right. Every word you spoke was relevant, had intention and meaning, and you were very successful in conveying it to us. So I have really very little to recommend, because most of the things you did were quite good. So I would like to leave it at that.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Samina. And Dr. Malini?
Krishnan, before I come to your speech, let me congratulate you on winning so many prizes in essay competitions. Because I feel essay competition is very difficult. You have only that content, you see. You can't add any embellishment to that content. And the content has to be so profound for it to stand out as a winning essay. So I feel that you have already made a mark in a tough area, sphere of activity. So I would like to congratulate you on that. Now, coming to your speech, for me, one word that I would like to use with reference to your speech is clarity. Complete clarity of thought, clarity of flow, clarity of pronunciation, everything is clear cut. You have no ambiguity anywhere. You did not rush anywhere. So that kind of fully controlled presentation. And as Samina ma'am said, the trouble you took to go to the studio, to dress up in such an impressive manner, it all adds up to the dignity of your presentation. And we immensely appreciate all that you have done. And I, for one, get impressed with things like ideas and ideologies. When you pair up words, they stay with us. Otherwise, we tend to forget. And another strength of your speech for me was the ease with which you brought in many thinkers like Kautilya, Sardar, and leaders, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Vajpayee, the smoothness with which you moved from one thinker to another, making it a part of your whole structure. Systematically done, impressively done, Rachel. Congratulations on all these positives. Do I have a suggestion to give? Perhaps yes, one small suggestion. I felt that you could. Now you sit and listen to your speech, and I feel somewhere along the line you can bring in better voice modulation by way of informality. Okay, you are fully formal, but in between there can be elements of a little bit of informality. For example, you had this sentence, from failures we have learned a lot, which you said in the same tone as the rest of it. Now you could have brought in a little bit of informality. From failures we learn a lot, don't we? Bringing in question tags like that will bring in a little bit of informality, because sometimes if it is totally formal, a little bit of fun element is missing. So you bring in a little bit of fun element, which you will certainly be capable of, because the way you sit there and smile and talk shows that you can bring in that element of lightheartedness. Okay, so try and do that for your next presentation. But a beautiful, I don't know whether we can use the word beautiful with reference to a presentation, but I would like to use it with a purpose. It was a beautiful presentation, Rachel. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your suggestion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Malini. And Rachel, one more thing is like, all of us have got personal experiences of the Republic Day. And if there was something personal from your side, and if you had shared it with us, we could relate to Republic Day even better than we do right now. That's the only other suggestion that I have. And as an anchor and as a host, it's not my place to give a suggestion, but as a DTM from the Toastmasters fraternity, certainly I do wish to give you that suggestion. But thank you very much for your effort. I know you've been under a lot of strain, you've taken a lot of effort, and you were very disappointed that you could not be there on 19th, you wanted to be here on the 20th, and then also you could not make it at the right time, but we did what we could to accommodate you, and thankfully you are here. And it's a pleasure to listen to you and to be with you. So thank you very much. And all of you, especially Inchara, Larissa, and Anisa also, thank you very much for being with us on this show. We have had 9 contestants, and all of them have been excellent in their own way. Each one of us is different, and each one of us produces our thoughts, delivers our thoughts in our own way. What we can do is improve our delivery to suit the medium. Maybe for a video content, it has to be a little different. When you're directly in contact, it has to be a little different. So on those, with that remark, let me conclude the second episode, and this is the final episode, and the results are coming up shortly. Thank you, Ms. Samina and Dr. Malini, for joining me as judges, and thank you very much for being on.
So, Brian, we had Navaratnas, 9 contestants, you said.
Absolutely. Yeah. So 9 contestants, we had 5 yesterday, 4 today. Thank you very much for being with us and being our judges for this competition. It's been an experiment. I know it's been an experiment. And probably in 2024, we'll have a participation. So let's hope for the best. This is the final episode, and we'll give you the results shortly. So welcome to the results part of the entire show, the NK Speech Salad 2023. It's been a wonderful show for us, 2 episodes, and today we are at the final stage. And something that everyone is waiting for, those who were in the first episode and those who were in the second episode. And as we approach the results, I would like to say to each and every participant that when you compete, always compete against yourself. Never compete with another. Because when you compete against yourself, you win. You win always. You don't have to win just once. Every day you win. If you can fold a bed sheet in a better way than you did yesterday, with less creases, I'm sure you have become a better person and you have won. So that's what you must keep in mind in every competition. I am like you. I too would like to win competition. Sometimes I don't. And then I feel disappointed. But then I console myself that at least I'm better than what I was last time. So I thank each one of you for putting in the effort. I know there were about 19 registrations, and in the end, so many people dropped out because they had butterflies or they had some other schedule. But those of you who participated, 9 of you who participated, congratulations. Thank you very much. And just be a little patient. We're going to get the results shortly. But before we go for that, I would like Dr. Malini Hebbar, our judge, for one of the judges for this competition, to give her concluding remarks on the entire competition, the program, the participation, and of course, the quality of speeches. Dr. Malini.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Brian Fernandez. It's your brainchild. The whole competition is your brainchild, and I know how much effort has gone into this, and News Karnataka also. What I felt when I looked at the participants was that News Karnataka has succeeded at reaching the length and breadth of India, because the number might have been a small number from 19 to 9, as I said, Navaratnas, but they were from different parts of India. And when we listened to them and when they told us how they came to know about this competition, it showed your reach actually as to how different people have come to know about this competition. That's why I felt very happy. I did not feel disappointed at any point of time about the number. Secondly, when you told me that there weren't many competitors, I thought probably it would be very easy to judge. No, it was the other way around. Now I have realized the smaller the number of contestants, the greater is the difficulty of judging them, because they were all neck to neck. Very difficult to say that these stood out as the best or the better. But of course, we'll have to finally choose the winners, and we have chosen the prize winners. I've said it before, and I'm saying it again. This is a field which needs to be improved. It's not a field. This is the field where participants need to improve themselves, because speaking is not easy. Speaking in public is not at all easy. That is why I feel you must continue with this competition so that more and more people take part and get encouraged, and they give that kind of enthusiasm to others to participate. I'm sure the ones who sit and watch the competition will now tell themselves, I should have participated. So that's going to be, this is the launching pad, and this is going to take off in a bright way. And I'm sure that this will be one of the most unique contests that one could ever think of. So congratulations on all that count. And I've been looking at the name of our mentor, distinguished Toastmaster Max. I can see on the board that he's the one who has sponsored all the prizes. So my heart goes out in gratitude to our dear mentor Max. So thank you, Max, for all that you have been doing, not only for Toastmasters community, but for the community in general. Thank you very much for that. Congratulations. And now I think I should not speak longer, because the contestants who are waiting for the results to be announced by distinguished Toastmaster Samina Nayak may even sue me in court if I speak a little longer. So over to Samina for the announcement of the winners.
Ms. Samina, yeah, please announce the winners.
Here comes the exciting part. In the third place, we have Larissa D'Souza. In the second place, we have Rachel Brittany Fernandez. In the first place, we have Sandra Ross. And we have given a special prize of appreciation to Kajal Shah. I thank you, Brian. I thank you, Max. I thank you, Malini. And I thank myself for being here today. Thank you.
So with that, we have come to the conclusion of this experimental program called NK Speech Salad. I'm sure the salad was pretty tasty, and we are going to have much more of it next year. In the meanwhile, let me thank our judges, Ms. Samina Nayak and Dr. Malini Hebbar, for their time, effort. It's not easy. I mean, sitting through speeches and then judging them and evaluating them. I'm glad that they said that they enjoyed it. I too enjoyed it. And I'm being very honest. I really enjoyed listening to all the speeches and being a part of the program myself. Thank you, Max, for being our guide and support in the Toastmasters and with this unique program for sponsoring the prizes. And of course, the entire News Karnataka team led by Narayan, Dolakshi, and the entire team for putting it together. I give them a great big thank you from my heart for doing this wonderful job. Thank you very much, all of you participants and viewers. Please, when you listen to this video or when you see this video, make a resolution, even though it's past January 1st, make a resolution that you will be back again next year with your friends. Thank you.